Hey guys, what's going on? This is John from Friends to Your Benefits. In this video, we're going to talk about how pharmacy rebates work, how they apply to health insurance premiums, and then also we will cover a concept called point of sale rebates and how they can really help make brand medications more affordable to members in HSA compliant plans. Stay tuned, you're not going to want to miss this. So to start off, let's give an overview of what a prescription drug rebate is. So, in return for brand prescription drugs being listed on a formulary, or basically meaning that a brand medication is going to be potentially covered by the PBM or pharmacy benefits manager, what will happen is the drug manufacturer will pay a rebate or provide money back to the PBM in return for that drug being listed on the formulary. So here's an example, right? So let's say there is a brand medication out there, and the brand medication with the manufacturer has a rebate of $100 per month. What will happen then is the PBM will collect that rebate. And depending on the contract with the health insurer or the employer that they work with, they'll typically pass back 100% of the rebates or that actual rebate dollars to employer plans or to health insurance plans on a fully insured basis. Now, historically, rebates have been very, very small dollars, right? As a percentage of the overall cost, you look back 10 years ago, they were anywhere between 10 and 20% of the overall cost. And nowadays, they're getting closer to 40, if not 50% of the gross cost. They've really grown over time. One of the reasons they've grown over time is as specialty medications have become more and more prevalent in the marketplace. These medications are very expensive, but they have very high rebate dollars associated with them. So let's give you a quick example in terms of what rebate structures could look like. So generally, for a 90-day supply for a traditional brand medication, a typical rebate could be $900 per script. For a brand medication with a 30-day supply, you could be looking at a rebate of about $300 per script. On the other hand, when it comes to specialty medications, these rebates could be anywhere between $3,000 and $5,000 per month. So there's a huge difference in the rebate dollars. Now, how does this actually flow back to health plans? Well, many health plans, as I mentioned before, and employer-based plans in general have provisions in the contract where 100% of the rebates or a minimum guarantee needs to be provided on a quarterly basis. So what happens is on a quarterly basis, employers typically receive a rebate check from their PBM. Generally, it's lagged by 1 quarter. So in quarter 2, you're likely going to be receiving the rebates from quarter 1. And what will happen is the employer then uses those rebates to offset other healthcare costs. When it comes time to figuring out premiums, most employers do account for the rebates. We consider it a best practice in their employee contributions. So it's offset both employer and employee costs among all employees, regardless of utilization. So I would say that roughly 70% of employers, and that's actually coming from the latest Mercer survey of employer-sponsored healthcare, have that type of rebate structure in place today, where they basically use those rebate dollars to reduce the overall healthcare costs for all who are enrolled in their medical and prescription drug benefit, not necessarily those who utilize the benefits. The other concept in the marketplace, and some employers have this, but this is something that really can benefit employees in H.S.A. plans, is a concept called point of sale rebates. So we'll show you on the slide over here, but here's kind of the current state. Let's say there's a medication out there that costs $300 per month. And in this example, let's assume there's a $100 rebate, just to make the math a little simple here, on that particular medication. So the net cost is going to be $200, right, for that particular medication after accounting for the rebates. Let's say someone is in their deductible phase. What will happen is the member will pay $300. The plan will receive the $100. So technically, if someone's in the deductible phase, an argument can be made that the plan is actually making a little bit of money on people in the H.S.A. plans until they satisfy their deductible. Point of sale rebates takes that notion and turns it on its head. So Let's go back to the same example. Let's assume there is a $300 brand medication out there. There is a $100 rebate. What will happen is the member will actually pay $200 because with that feature turned on, while the member is in their deductible, they're going to get the full benefit of the rebate. Let's follow the claim dollars. Let's say someone satisfies their overall deductible and they move into coinsurance. Let's assume the coinsurance is 20% of the overall cost. So before we were showing that the net cost was $200 after accounting for rebates before cost share is applied under point of sale rebates. So what will actually happen is the member will pay 20% of $200 or $40. And this compares to, let's say, in an employer that has traditional rebates, they'd be paying 20% of $300 or $60. So as you can see, there's definitely a big difference. Now, if the member happens to satisfy their out-of-pocket maximum, what will happen is the rebate dollars will still reduce the gross cost of the brand medication, but it will flow back in real time to the employer. Now, many employers take a look at this and they say, hey, John, I like the concept, but this is way too expensive. We can't afford this. Yes, point of sale rebates could potentially be expensive, but because it mostly benefits employees who are in their deductible phase in general, and it will vary based upon plan design, you can assume that based on the quarterly rebate check, if an employer only offered H.S.A. plans, anywhere between 15 and 20% of the overall rebate dollars would flow back to the employee in real time. So let's just say there's $1 million rebate check. What will happen is the employee, right, the employees in total on an aggregate basis will receive about $200,000. And then the plan in real time, not lagged by 1 quarter, will receive the other $800,000. There are some nuances when it comes to point of sale rebates. So the first thing is the PBMs are typically estimating them. And what they'll do is they'll estimate a value of about 95%. And that will be the amount that they actually release at the point of sale to be available to reduce the overall gross cost of the plan. Why do they do that? Because rebates potentially can change on a quarterly basis. And they can also vary compared to the guarantees. So the PBM will actually hold on to about 5% of the rebate and then do a year-end reconciliation, similar to how other employers with traditional rebates receive them today. And then at that point in time, if the 5% holds, then the employer will actually get a check for that remaining 5% of the rebates out there. Another thing to note is some of the PBMs will charge an admin fee for this. And the admin fee is basically the real-time value or the time value of money. They do this because they're not able to hold on to the rebate check for a quarter. They have to produce it out in real time. So there is a time value of money, and some of the PBMs will charge a slight admin fee for this. When it comes to point of sale rebates, if this is something you are interested in, the best time to do it is after you do a market check. After you do a market check, you may see a huge increase in rebate dollars. And through that, you could basically figure out what the percentage rebate loss could be to the member. And if you have a big enough increase, potentially you could turn that feature on and the plan would not lose out compared to the previous year's rebate structure that you were ultimately receiving. We want to hear from you guys. What do you think of the makeup of the RX rebates and how they apply to health insurance plans? Comment below.